Access 2016 Module 5, Part 3. To be able to do this query effectively, you will have to have completed Part 2. In Part 2, we did the list of values queries, and we created 2 examples of that. We're going to now revise those examples, and we're going to use the not function along with the list of values. So instead of beginning with the word in, these are going to begin with not in. So they are not in the list. The list still needs to be in parentheses with our options being separated by commas. We still need individual text fields to be enclosed in quotes and number fields not. But you do notice that instead of beginning with in, now it's going to begin with not in. So let's take a look at how those work. I'm going to go back into my Care Center database. You should have done 2 list queries: Cody, Ralston, Powell owners, and we did an invoice amount list. Those were both done in Part 2. So if you don't have those, I would recommend that you do those first, and then you'll be able to follow along in this segment. So we're going to start by copying our query Cody, Ralston, Powell owners. So I'm going to right click on that and choose copy. Then I'm going to right click on a blank space and choose to paste. And I'm going to change this name to be query, and then I'm going to put non-Cody, Ralston, Powell owners. And I'm going to change it to read not list. Now when you make your changes, you want to make sure you go down to the new one that you pasted. I'm going to go ahead and shrink the forms, reports, and tables so that we have more room. And I'm going to open up this non-Cody query. So right now, since it was a copy, you can see it still says all of our options, those 3 cities. So I'm going to go back into design view. Instead of it reading not or in this list, I'm going to click in front of the word in, and I'm going to add the word not and a space. So it will read not in the list. Now when I click run, you see that I get other cities, but not the 3 that I didn't want. We're going to save that query, and then we can close it. And now we're going to take our query invoice amount list, and we're going to right click on it and copy, find a blank spot and click paste. We're going to change that name to query invoice amount not list. Make sure you go to the not list option so that you're changing the new one. When you open it up, you can see it still has 35, 45, and 50. So we're going to go into design view, and we're going to come down here and add the word not in front of in, whoops, and add a space between those two words. So now it reads is not in 35, 45, or 50. And when we run this, we should see every amount except those three. So let's go ahead and save this. I'm going to close this query. So one thing to keep in mind when you're working with these is if you have a query that when you try to open it, you get an error message. If you do a right click, we're going to open up our not owners. So do a right click. You can go directly into design view. If you do that, it does not try to run the query. That way you can look at your criteria and see if you can figure out what is causing your errors. Let's take a look at using filters in our queries. So I'm going to go ahead and run. And you can see we have these filter arrows. So it lists the options that I have. I can choose to unselect all and just choose Red Lodge. And now it shows me only that city. When you have the data filtered, you can also toggle the filter. What that does is it shows you the unfiltered data, and then you click it again and it shows you the filtered data. So if you use the toggle filter, you're not going to have to remove the filter. Let's go ahead and close this. And since we filtered it, it's asking us if we want to save. If you want to, you can. Let's look at one more example of filtering. So we're going to open it up early January or office. And you could see we could filter here using the filter arrows. So if I only wanted to see Cody, I could unselect all and choose Cody. Then I could also filter using this filter selection. So if I wanted to see everything that had the word Hereford in it, then I could selection, filter by selection, and say it contains the word Hereford, and now it further filtered it. So there are several ways that you can filter. And once you want to undo, the toggle filter, remember, it does not undo the filters. It simply shows you all the data. The filter is still intact. If you click it again, it refilters. If you don't want to be able to refilter, you simply come in here and clear the filters from each of the fields. So we can clear from both of them. Notice once we've cleared them, the toggle filter button is grayed out and is no longer active. So we can't use it anymore. I'm going to go ahead and save the changes. That concludes working with our list of values and our not list of values.